You know, there have been 87 attempts to solve my problem since 1917. None of them consulted me. Everyone wanted me to play my disappearing act, to integrate, disseminate somewhere. I'm there. I'm there. I don't have any place to go other than my father's home in Jericho. That's where I live. And honest to God, if I ask the Israeli Prime Minister to close his eye and walk me through the year 2030 from the River Jordan to the Mediterranean, what does he see? Maybe you can. Close your eyes and write a research paper on it. I'm their fact. They wanted me to disappear. In 1897, they said, let's give a people with no land to a land with no people. They ignored my existence. I call it the state of non-existence to me. We were 502,000 Palestinians. And then they developed in their thinking in 1917 when the Balfour Declaration came and said a homeland for the Jews and preserving the civil and religious right of non-Jewish communities. I was 92%. I became a non-Jewish community. And if I tell you today, Michelle, that in 1917 there were 3 colleges in Palestine. Jaffa was the center of commerce before Beirut knew about it. We had 55,000 workers from Saudi Arabia and the Gulf working in Palestine. Who cares? Who knows? It's the white man's burden wanting to develop Palestine. And then in 1948, when Israel was created, I was turned into a refugee. That's the development, sequencing of intellectualism, 20th century. And no one knows that between 1948 till 1965, 40% of all Palestinians who were born in refugee camps died before reaching the age of 40, between 1948 and 65. And when we took to arms as Palestinians, we wanted to bring the attention of the world that there is a war of extinction against us. And we were called terrorists. And in 1993, they signed an agreement called Oslo, in which they recognized the PLO as the sole representative of the Palestinian people. I became a people. You see that intellectual development of thinking, of Western thinking, Zionist thinking, no existence, existence less than humans, refugees, terrorists, and people. I'm there. It's not pessimism or optimism. And they will sooner or later come to terms. They wanted me to be part of Jordan, they wanted me to be part of Egypt, they wanted me to disappear. I did not. And I don't intend to do now. Now, as far as the 3 related questions concerning Hamas, reconciliation, and Egypt. Look, I said to you, Hamas is a Palestinian political party. Hamas won the elections. We asked Hamas to differentiate between its role as a party and its role as a government. No one has asked Hamas to recognize Israel. Michelle. No one has asked Hamas to accept the 2-state solution or to renounce any of its charter. We asked the government. Governments have obligations. As Palestinians, we must stand tall and not to be selective, choose what we like and ignore what we don't like. We should say it the way it is. And you should all stand up and tell Hamas differentiate between your role as a party and your role as a government. Because they know that they ran for these elections under Oslo, with the limitations of Oslo. And they cannot say that because we won the elections, the whole world must change. Egypt has done a wonderful job. By the way, the so-called Egyptian paper is not an Egyptian paper. It's a Hamas, Fatah, PFLP, Palestinian factions paper. We signed. My party signed on 15th of October. Hamas refused to sign. Imagine, Michelle, if I were lecturing now here, and you were sitting there in a moment of truth, and Hamas had signed and I did not sign. What would you have said to me today? Why is that? You know, people in Britain, in Canada, in Mexico, in Argentina, in Saudi Arabia, in Malaysia, they don't say it the way it is. Help us. Tell Hamas, go and sign. And let's go to elections, presidential, legislative elections. That's the whole essence of the paper. We are under occupation in the West Bank and in Gaza. We don't have anything to fight for or over. Egyptians have done a fantastic job, a wonderful job. And I'll tell you a secret. Omar Sleiman, the chief intelligence of Egypt, on 28th of September, brought Khalid Mash'al and told him, before showing it to Abu Mazen, I will show it to you. Because I know that we're going to solve it. Please change anything, and then we'll go to Abu Mazen and tell him, take it or leave it. So Mash'al changed the election date from January 24th, as per our constitution, to June 28th, 6 months. And then he said there is a committee that is composed of all factions. He said only Hamas and Fatah they accepted. And then they said we'll keep the status quo in Gaza till after the elections, and they accepted. I can't wait for Ahmadinejad to finish his negotiations with Obama and Bashir. And I told you here that I don't see Iran as a threat. I don't. But I don't want Iran to be part supporting Hamas or Fatah. Iran should support Palestine and the Palestinian people and the establishment of the Palestinian state, and leave us as factions alone. Palestine is much more important than Fatah and Hamas and all other factions. People should stand up and tell Hamas, go and sign. And go to elections, yes, if you have differences, the ballot boxes, not anything else. And reconciliation, what Abu Mazen is saying, I'm not going to run for elections. Okay? I will not run for elections. No Fatah will run for elections. Let them run alone. Let them win, but let us unite. What more can we say? What more can we say?